There are moments in royal history that seem to fade away quietly, only to return years later louder than ever. And this latest storm surrounding Meghan Markle is exactly that kind of moment. Just when it seemed the headlines had finally moved on, an old magazine feature suddenly resurfaced online, and within hours it reignited a debate no one expected to trend again: Meghan's age, her public image, and the endless scrutiny that seems to follow every chapter of her life. Social media exploded almost instantly, with royal fans, critics, and curious viewers all asking the same question: why is this old story coming back now, and why does it suddenly feel bigger than before? But what truly sent this story into overdrive was the sharp reaction from royal biographer Tom Bower, who once again stepped into the spotlight with comments that many are calling brutal, while others say he is simply saying what others are too afraid to admit. His words didn't just reopen old wounds, they turned a forgotten magazine clipping into one of the most talked about royal dramas of the moment. The resurfaced magazine itself became the center of the storm. Viewers online began sharing screenshots, zooming into old interview lines, comparing dates, public appearances, and archived headlines, trying to piece together whether there was ever any real mystery at all, or if the internet had simply found another reason to create a frenzy around Meghan's name. What made this even more emotional was how quickly the conversation moved beyond the magazine and turned into a larger debate about image, perception, and the impossible standards placed on women in the public eye. Some people defended Meghan fiercely, saying the renewed focus on her age was unfair, outdated, and another example of how critics continue to target personal details rather than substance. Others argued that in the royal world, every inconsistency, no matter how small, becomes headline material because the family's image has always been built on tradition, precision, and public trust. That divide only fueled the story further. Then came Tom Bower's reaction, and this is where the tone of the drama changed completely. Known for his sharp criticism and willingness to say what others frame more gently, Bower reportedly suggested that the renewed attention was less about the number itself and more about the narrative Meghan has carefully built around reinvention, image, and timing. According to many watching the story unfold, his comments struck a nerve because they touched on something deeper than just a resurfaced publication. He seemed to be pointing toward a larger idea that every old detail connected to Meghan has now become symbolic of the wider conflict between how she presents herself and how critics choose to interpret her journey. Whether people agreed with him or not, his involvement instantly made the story feel more serious, more personal, and more emotionally charged. What makes this saga so compelling is that it taps into something much bigger than royal gossip. Meghan Markle's life has become one of the most polarizing modern public stories, where every past interview, every archived photo, and every forgotten magazine line can suddenly become global news again. For her supporters, this latest age debate feels exhausting, another example of the relentless microscope she has lived under since joining the royal family. They argue that no matter what she says or does, critics seem determined to dig backward through time until they find something to reignite outrage. For her critics, however, the resurfaced magazine represents yet another reminder that the public image surrounding Meghan has always been carefully curated, and they believe that old media moments often reveal more than current statements ever do. As the debate spread, royal commentators began drawing comparisons to previous controversies involving Meghan and the press, reminding audiences that this is far from the first time an old interview or publication has unexpectedly returned to dominate the news cycle. The emotional weight of that pattern is what keeps viewers glued to stories like this. It creates the feeling that Meghan can never truly escape her past, not because the past itself is shocking, but because every detail now carries symbolic meaning. A date in a magazine becomes a question of credibility. A headline from years ago becomes a fresh social media war. A single comment from Tom Bower becomes fuel for millions of opinions online. And then there's the human side of this story, the part that often gets lost beneath the headlines. Imagine living a life where even the smallest detail from years ago can return without warning and dominate conversations around the world. For many viewers, that is where the emotional pull really hits. Whether they support Meghan or not, there is something undeniably intense about watching a person's life be revisited in fragments, each fragment judged as if it carries the weight of destiny. The resurfaced magazine may seem minor on the surface, but the reaction to it reveals just how deeply Meghan remains embedded in the global public imagination. Some royal insiders believe the reason this story is hitting so hard now is because the public mood around Meghan and Prince Harry has shifted again. Every new project, every public appearance, every business move they make now exists against the backdrop of their long-running battle with perception. In that environment, even something as simple as an old magazine becomes part of a larger emotional story about trust, reinvention, and whether the public ever truly lets public figures move forward. Tom Bower's timing, critics say, added even more fire because his name immediately signals controversy, especially among audiences already divided on Meghan. As the online reactions intensified, one thing became clear. This was never just about age, it became about symbolism. To critics, the magazine represented cracks in a carefully controlled image. To supporters, it represented the cruelty of endless obsession over irrelevant personal details. That emotional clash is what transformed a resurfaced publication into a viral royal drama. People were no longer debating facts alone. They were debating what Meghan herself represents in the modern royal narrative: freedom to redefine oneself, or a figure whose story will always be challenged by the past. By the end of the day, the headlines had done what they always do in stories like this. They made the personal feel historic. Meghan's name was once again dominating feeds, Tom Bower's comments were being replayed and dissected, and the old magazine had become more than paper and ink. It had become a symbol of how impossible it is for certain public figures to ever leave a chapter behind. Every old detail waits in the shadows, ready to return the moment the public mood changes. And perhaps that is why this story resonates so strongly. It's not really about whether a number in an old magazine matters. It's about how fame freezes moments in time and allows them to be resurrected years later with even greater force. For Meghan Markle, that reality has become one of the defining truths of her public life. For Tom Bower, it's another chance to challenge the story as it has been told. And for viewers, it's another emotional royal drama that feels both strangely familiar and impossible to ignore. The real question now is not whether this magazine story fades away again, but what forgotten detail might return next. Because in the world of Meghan, Harry, and the royal spotlight, the past never truly stays buried.